Students, today we are going to study the fifth chapter of your supplementary reader, that is Footprints Without Feet, written by H.G. Wells. And you all know that it is also the name of your book, that is supplementary reader. It is also named as Footprints Without Feet. So today we are going to read this interesting chapter because this chapter details about a scientist who is an intelligent person, but he misuses his knowledge in a wrong way. So before beginning this chapter, let me introduce you this author H.G. Wells. So for H.G. Wells, his complete name was Herbert George Wells, and he was born on 21st September 1866 and lived up till 13th August 1946, and he was an English writer. He was prolific in many genres, writing dozens of novels, short stories, and works of social commentary, satire, biography, and autobiography, and even 2 books he wrote on recreational war games. He is now best remembered for his science fiction novels and is often called the father of science fiction, along with Jules Verne and Hugo Gernsback. And this novel also, this chapter, it is also an excerpt from his novel named An Invisible Man, which is an example of science fiction. So before proceeding the chapter, let me give a brief introduction. So this story, I must tell you, that is about a scientist named Griffin who discovers the rare chemical which can make a man invisible, but at the same time the man can be touched and felt physically. That means though he was invisible, but he was not a ghost, and he could be felt physically. If you touch him, you can feel him. So now let's read and find out how he misuses or he uses his power for his own. So now to begin with, the chapter begins with the 2 questions. Name, how did the invisible man became first visible, and why was he wandering the streets? So the answer for these 2 questions we are going to get as and when we read this chapter. So before beginning, as the title says, Footprints Without Feet, what do you mean by the title? The title itself says that the marks, the footmarks which are made on the sand without the presence of any feet. So how is it possible? Whether the person was a ghost or he was a real man, that we are going to read and find out in this chapter. So the chapter begins like this, that the 2 boys started in surprise at the fresh muddy imprints of a pair of bare feet. What was a barefooted man doing on the steps of a house in the middle of London? And where was the man? As they gazed, a remarkable, means wonderful sight. Sight means the sight of anything, that is the picture of anything. The sight met their eyes. A fresh footmark appeared from nowhere. Further footprints followed one after another, descending the steps and progressing down the street. The boys followed, fascinated. Fascinated means they were surprised, they were attracted. They were now eager to find out from where those footmarks were made, as the feet were nowhere to be seen. The person was nowhere to be seen, until the muddy impressions became fainter and fainter. That means lighter and lighter, and at last disappeared altogether. So in this paragraph, the narrator says, you can say that this chapter begins with the surprise of the 2 boys who saw the fresh muddy imprints, and those were of a pair of bare feet. And these children, as they gazed, a fresh footmark appeared from nowhere. Then they saw further steps. The steps moved down the streets, and finally the steps disappeared. So this made the boys very surprised, and in surprise they just followed those footprints. Then they were more surprised when they saw the fresh footmarks being made on the muddy sand. And and the children, these two boys, or these children, they got fascinated, or they got eager to know from where the footmarks were made. They tried to find the person whose footprints were made on that muddy sand. Then further, the next paragraph says, the explanation of the mystery was really simple enough. The bewildered boys, bewildered means confused. They were confused. Why? Because they could see the footprints, but they could not see the person, or they could not see the feet. The bewildered boys had been following a scientist who had just discovered how to make the human body transparent. Griffin, the scientist, had carried out an experiment after experiment to prove that the human body could become invisible. So now in this paragraph, the narrator says that the explanation of the mystery was really very simple enough. It was very simple. The bewildered boys had been following a scientist. So this was the footprints. These were the footprints. The narrator says that the confused boys, they did not know that they had been following a scientist who had recently discovered a chemical to make the body invisible, or to make the body transparent, and that scientist was Griffin, who was carrying out an experiment. He was continuously making an experiment as he wanted to make the human body, or he wanted to invent the chemical that could make the human body invisible. And he himself swallowed many tablets, or you can say many chemicals, due to which his body became transparent as a sheet of glass. And it was before his footprints could be seen. Then further he says, finally he swallowed certain rare drugs, and his body became as transparent as a sheet of glass, though it also remained as solid as glass. Brilliant scientist though he was, Griffin was rather a lawless person. His landlord disliked him and tried to eject him. Eject him means throw him out. Then, in revenge, Griffin set fire to the house. To get away without being seen, he had to remove his clothes. Thus, it was that he became a homeless wanderer, without clothes, without money, and quite invisible, until he happened to step in some mud and left footprints as he walked. So in this paragraph, the narrator is telling about this scientist who got transparent, who swallowed many drugs or medicines, due to which his body became transparent, and it became as transparent as a sheet of glass. But he was physically present, but though he could not be seen. So, and further he says that the scientist Griffin, he was a brilliant scientist, but he was a lawless person too, because he broke the laws. He committed burglary and he bothered the people. So and further he says, the narrator is telling that his landlord, when he was living in London, he hired a room in one of the streets of London, and there he carried off his experiment on the cat. And knowing this, his landlord wanted to throw him out of the house, and they started disliking him, and they tried to eject him, throw him out of the house. Then, so in revenge, what did Griffin do? He again broke the law, and he set the whole house on fire. And why he did so? Just because he wanted to disappear. He wanted to run away from there without being noticed. And For that he had to remove his clothes because his body had become transparent. He was not visible to the naked eyes, and for that he had to remove the clothes because his clothes were visible. Thus it was that he became a homeless wanderer. Since then he became homeless. He did not have any shelter. And I just want to tell you one more thing, that this man, this Griffin, he was a very selfish person. He was so selfish that one day he robbed his own father's money, though that money did not belong to his father, which made his father commit suicide. And he was a heartless person, we can say that, because he was not at all he did not show any despair. He was not at all sad at the death of his own father. So, and then the narrator says that without clothes he had to wander here and there. He did not have any shelter, he did not have any home, and he had to move without money and without being visible until he happened to step. He was not visible to any person. No one could notice him until one day he stepped into some mud and his footprints were made on that mud as he walked. Further, the narrator says, he escaped easily enough from the boys who followed his footprints in London, but his adventures were by no means over. He had chosen a bad time of the year to wander about London without clothes, and it was midwinter. The air was bitterly cold and he could not do without clothes. So in this paragraph the narrator says that he escaped easily enough from the boys. That means the boys who were following him, his footprints, he just escaped from the eyes of those boys in London, but his adventure were by no means over. Means still there were many adventures which were followed. As we move on, or we'll read further, we'll find out what adventures he met further. And the narrator says that he had chosen a bad time of the year to wander about London without clothes because it was bitterly cold. It was the midwinter time and it was very, very cold, and Griffin had to move without clothes in order to escape the sight of the people, because he had set the house on fire of his landlord. So he was a culprit also. He had broken the law, so he had to run away without being noticed. But the narrator says that he chose a very bad time of the year. It was midwinter, it was very, very cold, and he had to move without clothes and bear the bitter cold of those months. Then further in the next paragraph, the narrator says, instead of walking about the streets, he decided to slip into a London store for warmth. Closing time arrived, and as soon as the doors were shut, Griffin was able to give himself the pleasure of clothing and feeding himself without regard to expense. He broke open boxes and wrappers and fitted himself out with warm clothes. Soon, with shoes, an overcoat, and a wide brimmed hat, he became a fully dressed and visible person in the kitchen of the restaurant. So, in this paragraph, the narrator says that what happened one day, that instead of walking about the streets, he decided to get into a London store to get some clothes to wear, to get the warmth, and it was the closing time of the shop of that store. And as soon as the doors were shut, Griffin was able to give himself a pleasure of clothing. That means he enjoyed the clothes over there. And then what happened? He went inside the store and the closing time arrived. The doors of the stores were shut and nobody was there inside. And so he get the food to eat and wore new clothes without paying for it. He became visible again as he wore shoes and clothes. He then found cold meat and coffee in the kitchen and ate them. After that, he also had sweets and wine from the grocery store. Then he slept on the pile of quilts which was lying over there and could not wake up on time. So further he says that he found cold meat and coffee, that we have read that he found in the store. He just, as he took the shelter in the store, he found the food also, and he satisfied his hunger, as he was very very hungry. He could not find anything to eat. Then and he followed up the meals with sweets and wine taken from the grocery store. So he had taken the shelter in the store, so he found the food easily, and finally he settled down to sleep on a pile of quilts. So there was a pile of quilts, that is Rajaiya. Those quilts were kept in the store, and he just slept into those quilts. If only Griffin had managed to wake up in good time, all might have been well. As it was, he did not wake up until the assistants were already arriving next morning. When he saw a couple of them approaching, he panicked. Panic means he again got very, you can say, he panic stricken, or he was scared, and he began to run. So in these lines the narrator says that Griffin, as he went off to sleep, he was very very tired on a pile of quilts. He slept, and if he had managed to wake up in a good time, that is at a right time before the arrival of the assistants of the store, then everything would have gone well. But he was not able to wake up until the assistants of the store arrived next morning, and then as soon as they saw him, they started approaching him, which scared Griffin, and he started to run. He left the store and he started running. They naturally gave chase. In the end, he was able to escape only by quickly taking off his newly found shoes. So once more he found himself invisible but naked in the chill January air. So in these lines the narrator says that they naturally gave chase means they were following those people, those assistants. They were chasing him because he had taken the shoes, he had stolen the clothes also. So what happened in the end? He was able to escape only by quickly taking off his newly found clothes. That means he had to take off his clothes in order to get invisible and in order to save himself from those assistants. So once again he had to remove his clothes and he became naked in the chill January air. In that chilly month he had to move without clothes. He had to move naked. Then further the narrator says, this time he decided to try the stock of a theatrical company in the hope of finding not only clothes but also something that would hide the empty space above his shoulders. Shivering with cold, he hurried to Drury Lane, the center of the theatre world. He soon found a suitable shop. He made his way invisible upstairs and came out a little later, wearing bandages around his forehead, dark glasses, false nose, big bushy side whiskers, and a large hat. So first let us see to the hard words. The first word is theatrical, that is relating to acting. Actors or a theatre. Shivering means shaking slightly and uncontrollably as a result of being cold or frightened, or you can say excited. Whiskers. What are whiskers? It is a long projecting hair or bristles which grows from the face or a snout of any mammal. So in these lines the narrator says that this time he decided to try the stock of theatrical company in the hope of finding not only. So this means that now he entered the store, the theatrical world, and he decided to try the clothing of this theatrical world, as he knew that he would surely find something there to cover his face with. He quickly reached the Drury Lane, the center of the theatrical world, as he was shivering with cold, and he found a shop according to his needs, and he entered it. Then he came out wearing bandages around his forehead, false nose, side whiskers, and a hat due to which he was visible and he could walk in the streets. Then, further, the narrator says that to escape without being seen, he callously attacked the shopkeeper from behind, after which he robbed him of all the money he could find. And eager to get away from crowded London, he took a train to the village of Iping, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. The arrival of a stranger at an inn in winter was in any case an unusual event. Why it was an unusual event? Because in that chilly, cold weather, nobody, no visitor just visits that Iping or hire any room in the inn. So the people, the owner of the inn, they hardly find any customer or any visitor. Then further he says, a stranger of such uncommon appearance set all the tongues wagging. Means his appearance was so uncommon, as his whole face was covered with bandages. So this appearance just made all the people suspect him, and they started discussing about the strange man. So in these lines, the narrator, he says that then he, as he did not have any money, he attacked a shopkeeper and he robbed him of all his money. Then he felt that London was too crowded and decided to go to a small village nearby, and he moved to the village Iping. He took a train and booked 2 rooms. After reaching Iping, he just booked 2 rooms at the local inn. And the event of a stranger coming and staying at the inn in the winter night was not a normal thing to happen in Iping. And the strange appearance of that man made everybody talking about it, because he was a very strange man with the bandages all over his face. Then further, now we'll see what happens in the next paragraph. The narrator says that Mrs. Hall, who is the owner of that inn, Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every effort to be friendly, but Griffin had no desire to talk and told her, my reason for coming to Iping is a desire for solitude. Solitude means he wanted to be left alone in peace. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work. Besides, an accident has affected my face. Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist. Eccentric means that she was unconventional and was slightly very strange lady. Then Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse the strange habits and irritable temper, but the stolen money did not last long. That is the stolen money of that man, this Griffin. And presently Griffin had to admit that he had no money, had no more ready cash, and he pretended, however, that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. So in these lines, the narrator says that Mrs. Hall, who was the owner of that inn, made every effort to be friendly. That means she was a very skillful lady, she was a very talkative lady. So she tried to be friendly with Griffin, because she wanted to inquire about everything, that why was he wearing that, why he had covered his face with bandages. But Griffin, he could understand the ways of that lady, and he showed no interest, and he told her to keep away from him, and he showed no desire to talk with her. And then he straight away told Mrs. Hall that the reason for coming to Iping was that he wanted complete loneliness and he wanted peace, and he did not wish to be disturbed by anyone in his work. And further, he just stated that the bandages due to which his face is covered is due to an accident which affected his face, and he had to cover his face with those bandages. So with this answer, Mrs. Hall was satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist, that is unconventional scientist, and in view of that he had paid her, and she became more quiet. Why? Because Griffin, he just handed over the money. He paid her the money in advance for the rooms that he had hired, and Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits, and she was not at all bothered of his strange habits until as because she was paid for the she got the money, she was paid for the rooms that person had hired, and she was not at all bothered of that irritable temper of that man. But the stolen money of Griffin, the money that he had stolen and he had given to Mrs. Hall, did not last for long, because he had to spend the money to buy the chemicals to carry on the experiment, and presently Griffin had to admit. Then finally, when he had to pay the money to Mrs. Hall, he admitted that he had no ready cash, he did not have any more money, and he pretended that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment, and as soon as that check will arrive, he would give away the money. Then further in the next paragraph, the narrator says that shortly afterwards a curious episode occurred. Then curious means strange. Then very early in the morning, a clergyman and his wife were awakened by noises in the study. Creeping downstairs, they heard the chink of money being taken from the clergyman's desk, and without making any noise, and with a poker is what? It is a metal rod with a handle which is used for prodding and stirring an open fire. So without making any noise and with a poker grasped firmly in his hand, the clergyman flung open the door. Surrender. Then he said suddenly, surrender. So in these lines, the narrator says that the landlord's wife, Mrs. Hall, accepted that her new guest was a strange scientist and was ready to excuse his temper and habit, as he had paid her in advance. Then the time came when his money was over. So, and he had no ready cash available for further payment at the end. So he had to pretend, he had to say that he was waiting for the check to come to arrive at any moment. Then further, then a strange thing happened. What happened? The clergyman, that is the priest. Who is the clergyman? He is the priest. The clergyman and his wife were awakened by some noises in their study room. And when they were coming downstairs, they could hear the sound of money being taken from the clergyman's desk. So there was a drawer in the desk, and that drawer opened, and the money, and that clergyman could hear the voice of the money being taken out from the desk. And the clergyman held a metal rod in his hand, which he flung the door, and then he came to the study room. He just flung the door open. He opened the door quickly, and as soon as he opened the door, he said surrender, as he thought that he had caught the thief. Now further we will see what happens. Now this is all in this class. Now we are going to continue with the same chapter in the next class. Thank you.